Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Too Opinionated, where today we are joined, and we're so happy about it, with actress, producer, Charlotte Larson. So welcome, Charlotte.
Hi, thank you.
Charlotte, where are you from?
Originally from New Zealand, and then I grew up in the UK, and I've been in LA for about 10 years now.
It's very rare when I get to talk with somebody that has as distinct an accent as myself. So
Well, yeah, my accent's all over the place. Sometimes it sounds a little American, sometimes it's British, sometimes it's Kiwi. So yeah, people have no idea where I'm from.
Well, it's very unique, and that's pretty good, because normally, say, if we're talking amongst ourselves and we're located in West Virginia, we don't notice an accent. But when we talk to somebody from out of state or out of country,
Mm-hmm.
that always comes up. It's like, oh, you've got quite the accent there. So.
Yeah, I understand that.
So I'm sure you get that on occasion.
Yeah. People think I'm from Australia or South Africa and anywhere but where I'm actually from. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's really unique that you were born in New Zealand, and you said raised in England.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now you're in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So let's start with this. So I know that you've done a lot of producing, you've done some acting. What got you interested originally in the entertainment business, and how did you first get into it?
Yeah. So my first kind of entree into the world of creative world, I did my first play when I was 10. I did a school play. Yep. And also my first rejection. I didn't get the part I wanted. So yeah. So despite that, I did drama and acting in school. I did some other plays after that. And then I did all my schooling in the UK and England, and decided to go to New Zealand for university.
Yeah.
College down there. And I did a degree in film and theater. So that was, a bit of both sides, film and theater, but it was mostly theoretical and academic. There was a little bit of practical in both sides. But I always wanted to be an actor and a director as well. And then when I graduated, I started my own production company. So from there, I was like, great, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to act and direct. But I did that, and then realized that in order to get projects that I wanted to work on, I had to produce them. So I kind of spent several years producing rather than doing the acting and directing thing that I originally wanted to do. And then I really still wanted to be acting. So I would go to the theater twice a week, see people I know. A lot of my friends are actors, and I'd see them on stage, and I'm like, no, I really should be doing this still. So that's I sit in an audience still, and I'm like, why am I sitting here? I should be up there. But that led me to move to LA and drama school here, and get back into the acting as well.
Yeah, that's great. What was the play that you missed out on when you were 10?
It was a production of The Water Babies by Charles Kingsley. Yeah. And I wanted to be one of the policemen because they were very funny. They were the comic relief of the play. And I was like, I want to be a policeman. And I went to an all-girls school. That's why, But I was the smallest in the class, and so the teacher automatically made me a water baby because I was the shortest.
So, typecast.
Yeah, totally typecast. I'm like, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
I'm shorter than you think I am.
So, as a short person, I can sympathize.
Yeah. So it was me and the three shortest in the class had to be the water babies, and we didn't really have a say in that.
Outrageous.
But, yeah, I was like, but I want to be the funny one.
Well, my one and only acting in a play was in the 5th grade in a Babes in Toyland production. I got the part I wanted, which was the second mate, and at that time I couldn't do it now, but at that time I had a decent pirate accent, and the second mate had much better lines than the first mate, so that's the one I wanted. So so I went out on top. That's what I wanted. I did it.
Great.
Done.
Well, there you go. You got what you wanted. I didn't.
So tell me, I got lots of questions, but tell me a little bit about New Zealand, because you always hear about how beautiful New Zealand is, and do you actually have a rivalry with Australia? Because I always hear that it's like a friendly rivalry.
Yeah, I think it comes down to rugby mostly between Australia and New Zealand. But yeah, there is this kind of friendly rivalry. I kind of compare it to America and Canada. You know, our neighbors are kind of like, oh, we're better than them. But
That's right.
Yeah, and there's a joke that we say in New Zealand. It's like, what do you call a sophisticated Australian? A New Zealander.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there is that rivalry, but there's also a great relationship between the two countries as well, and a lot of New Zealanders move to Australia, and a lot of Australians come and move to New Zealand, and we have great trade and so on with them, and it's so close. Like, a lot of people go to Australia for the weekend because it's a 3-hour flight from New Zealand to Sydney, or but yeah, both countries they're very beautiful, and obviously both countries full of lovely people, and but New Zealand obviously is my home, and it's very beautiful. And people ask me, they see Lord of the Rings and they're like, is that real? I'm like, yeah, most of that is real. Yeah.
Have you been to the areas where they filmed?
What was that, sorry?
Have you been to the areas where they filmed Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. They filmed all over the country, and they they took in a lot of the mountains and countryside, and they filmed some of it in Wellington, which is where I'm from. Up in trees and things like that. I see them every day, kind of thing, that they filmed at, which is great. But
that's really really neat. So okay, so back to you. Talk a little bit about producing. What exactly, you hear that a lot. People say this, producer or executive producer of a film or TV show. What exactly does that entail? And when you first started out, how did you get into that? You said a little about having to kind of pick your own projects. How did you find the ones that you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting question, because, and I get asked this question a lot, what is a producer and what is an executive producer and what do you do? And my kind of overall thing, my little phrase that I like to say is that if a film does well, the director gets the credit, and if a film does badly, the producer gets the blame. That's kind of that's mostly how people see it. But what I do is I like to sort of explain it in ways that people can understand who aren't in the business. I'm the project manager or the event planner. You think of it like that. So it depends where I come in on a project, but it can range from anything from finding the project, financing the project, casting, all the contracts, the paperwork, the budgets, all that stuff. All the stuff you do in pre-production, and then when you're on set, troubleshooting. You might have a director who goes, well, I want this shot from a helicopter, and I'm like, well, we can't do it from a helicopter, but stand on that hill and look down, you might get
the same feel.
Yeah, and it's free. So that my job is to kind of make sure everyone's happy, but do it within the budget, and make sure everyone's safe and so on. And then even when filming has finished, my job is to oversee post-production, make sure we have a good film, and then get it out there and talk to distributors and sales agents and festivals and all that kind of stuff. So even after the film is finished, I'm still doing a job. I'm still working on getting it out there, and hopefully people get to see it.
Yeah, that explains it really well. That's great. I love the fact that you started your own company right out of college. That's very commendable.
I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of went in for it and was like, well, we'll see how this goes.
What was your first project?
We actually did an internal project, and we wrote a short film about a boy band and an alternative band kind of gate crashing the boy band concert and trying to get themselves seen out there. And yeah, they were trying to get a name for themselves, and the boy band were doing a concert, and the band crashed to the stage and was like, we're better than these people. And yeah, a little short film, a little comedy that we produced in-house, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would watch that. That sounds amusing. So that's pretty good.
A lot of fun.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you get to act in any of the projects that you produce?
Yeah. If I can, I like to obviously be on both sides of the camera, but I always make sure that it's obviously not detrimental to the film that I'm in it. So I'm not going to push to be in it if, like for example, I did a hip hop movie in New Zealand, and there is no way that I would even touch that as an actor because I have 3 left feet, and so I'm like,
Same.
Let the professionals do their job and do the dying, and I'll stay here and I'll produce on the other side. But there have been projects that I've produced and that I'm acting in, a couple that I'm working on right now that I'm going to act and produce as well, which is great. But yeah, always can, but if I'm producing and I'm not in it, I'm still on set, I'm still doing what I love to do. And then, and that's it. If I'm just acting in it, I'm not producing it, I'm still doing the work that I love. So I'm, either side, I'm happy.
Yeah, and I think that's really unique, and it's interesting to me because we talked to a lot of actors, and a lot of them start on the acting side and then cross over and direct or produce, but you're kind of going the opposite direction, which I think is really interesting, and it gives you that freedom to kind of go back and forth depending on the project. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think it's important, as you said, a lot of actors start off on the acting side, and I think it's really important, even if you're not intending to be a producer or a director or anything, behind the camera as an actor, that you have an understanding of what people's jobs are, what goes on that side of the camera. Because as an actor, you turn up to set, you say your line, you sit in your trailer between takes, or you hang out at craft services. You sit there, as they say, hurry up and wait. There's a lot of waiting around on set. And as an actor, you're like, well, we've been waiting for an hour for this shot to be set up, and people don't understand that there's a lot going on. It's not just moving a camera and fixing a light. There's a lot of other going on, and I think that's really helped me as an actor, because I understand what's going on, and I can look at a production and go, okay, something's going on. Like I look at, the set, the camera, whatever's going on. I can look at the people behind the camera,
right?
And I go, okay, something's going on. They've got to. I need to give them time to do their job. And that also helps me as an actor, because it calms me down, it relaxes me, and I go, I have time. I'm not like, wait, what's going on? Why am I not working? I can sit and take an extra 10 minutes and have a cup of coffee, or I can go over my lines or whatever, and I can go, okay, there's something going on, I've got time, I can just sit and relax. And I think that's important. And then on the flip side as well, as a producer, I think it's anyone behind the camera, having been an actor, I understand what an actor needs, and why, like you hear a lot of stories about people who are like, only talk to me by my character name, like don't call me my real name, and it sounds really pretentious, and like it sounds like people are just trying to be a diva and whatever, but as an actor, like there's so much you have to go through your process, that as a producer who's been an actor, I can go, okay, that person's not being an idiot or difficult on purpose or trying to be a diva or anything like that. I understand what they need to do their work. So I think if you understand both sides, both people, they can appreciate the other person's job, but it also makes their job easier as well.
Sure. Yeah. And that was the next question I had was, does it give you insight into both worlds? And it sounds like it does. So that seems like that would be an advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful, even if you don't understand in a great detail, in great what that person's job is. If you just have a little understanding, as an actor, of what the director does, what the lighting guy does, what the producer does, even down to the person making the coffee. like get an understanding of how a set works behind the scenes, because that helps ground you and helps you do your work in the camera as well.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, it's really interesting. I love the behind the scenes stuff. So it's nice to kind of hear, the process and the different things that go into that. So that's really interesting. So I wanted to ask you about a few. I was doing some research, so I looked up some of the projects, and the one I think that is maybe the most well known, I've got a couple, but the one I wanted to ask you about first was Auckward Love. Am I saying that right?
Auckward Love, yeah.
Auckward Love, which I think is, I watched some clips of that. It's really a funny show, and I like it because it's kind of it's kind of a millennial show.
Yeah.
Kind of the millennials. I call it kind of stumbling through life. So I thought that one was really interesting. I was wondering, how did you become involved in that one, and did you realize you had, something that was going to do well, and it had the potential?
Yeah, so it was actually created by a couple of good friends of mine, Holly Shervy, who created the show with her partner Emmett, and they're both very talented actors and writers and directors and so on, and they created the whole concept and the whole show themselves. It was all like they did all the work basically. I was very hands off on this project, but they came to me and they said, hey, would you like to be involved? And I said, of course. Like, you guys are talented people, and they're friends. And I was like, of course. Like, I'd love to work with you. And yeah, I mean, as you said, it's like a very millennial project. It's about dating in your 20s in the city of Auckland, which is why the title is AUCK Word Love. And yeah, I knew they were going to do a great job. They're very talented, and just in general, very funny people. And so I knew that it was going to do that well. You never know with a project. You hope it does. But yeah, I mean, I'm very excited and proud that they managed to what they did.
Yeah, it looks really good, and I think it's on Amazon Prime. I think. I'm not 100%, but that was my next question. Was where can people go to watch that one?
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. You might be able to find it there.
Oh, okay, on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clips I watched, that's where what I was watching was YouTube.
Yeah, but I think I know in New Zealand that TV in New Zealand commissioned them to do a series on their demand service. But yeah, I think it's on YouTube, and if you Google it, you'll find it.
Yeah, I did. It came right up, and it's definitely worth giving a look. I love the fact that here in the States, a lot of these terrific other country shows are starting to show up here. I know IFC and Sundance and the Audience Network, but while it was around, are starting to grab these great shows, and it allows us to see some of them here in the States, where even 10 years ago we didn't see anything from out of country. So I think that's really nice. Yeah, really good. Oh, and so the next one, I'm a longtime big Charles Dickens fan. And I saw you had some work with Great Expectations, which is one of my favorite stories. And that's such a great cast with that one. So, how did you get involved in that, and, kind of what was your role there?
Yeah, so that was through a friend of mine who was another producer on the film, and he said, hey, do you want to get involved? And I was like, yeah.
Yes.
Like, he's like, it's got this person and this person. Like, I'm done. Yeah, I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. So yeah, he just came to me and he was like, great, we have a week to get this sorted. And I was actually in the middle of drama school at the time, and I kind of said to the school, you know what, I take a week off. I have this project I'm working on. So we had a week to kind of finalize everything and get that up and running. So yeah, they were in the middle of production when I came on board. So everything was already on its way, which
Right.
is great. But yeah, it was really great to be involved with that project. And then I saw it at TIFF at the Toronto Film Festival, and it was really, really great to see the final product in such a great setting as well.
Yeah, that cast is terrific, and
Mm-hmm.
it's such good film, but just the subject matter is
Mm-hmm.
so well written. It was neat seeing that on the big screen. And of course, it's been out for a while. I think it came out, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, 2012, I think it was around then.
Yeah. So I that's one I had seen several years ago because I'm a fan. But that's terrific. Talk to me a little bit. You'd mentioned the film festivals a few times, and I got to go to my first big one this past January. I went to Sundance, and it was awesome. It's such a neat setting, and luckily we got to go kind of right before everything got shut down. So we got to go back, and then everything shut down. But talk about that process a little bit, because there's so many film festivals out there. How do you know which ones are the ones that you want to connect with and use to kind of market the product that you're trying to get out there?
Yeah, so you, as a producer, you kind of have an idea when you're starting a project that where it's going to go. So some films you're like, okay, this is going to go to festivals, and some films you're saying, okay, well, this is going to go straight to hopefully distribution to a theater or streaming service. Usually the indie films and the lower budget films, you try and get into a festival, because then buyers will see your film and want to distribute it, and so on. So it's more of a buyer's market, depending on the festival you want to get into. So mostly each festival has its kind of criteria. Sure. And you can tell which films suit which festivals. So Sundance is very much geared towards the indie films. Cannes is much more of a buyer's market festival. So sort of everything gets in there, and then it's the hustle to try and buy it. TIFF Toronto Festival is great because this is one is also as open to the public, so it's more of a audience geared festival. They do have some of the bigger film premieres and things there. Like we took Great Expectations there, but yeah, you kind of know from the vibe, I guess, of the festival and what they accept. What film you have is going to go where. So you can kind of tell, and even when you start the film, you go, okay, well, this is going to do the festivals. We want to hit TIFF. We want to hit this. We want to hit Venice. We want to hit, South by Southwest or whatever. So you really know in the back of your mind, as you're working on the project, where you're going to go with it.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Do you use those festivals, even if you have, something that you're marketing or trying to market? Do you also use those festivals as kind of a networking platform to where you go? And because like when we went, you spent a lot of time at little cocktail hours, little parties around the movies and the films, and there's just a lot of that networking going on.
Yeah, I mean, I go to some of the parties, but like for example at TIFF, they have industry events throughout the day, so you can go to a seminar, you can go to a meeting, you can set up meetings with other producers. So yeah, a lot of the time during the day, that is what your time is taken up with. It's seminars or Q&As or industry screenings, that kind of thing. So you're working during the day, and then at night you get to go to the movie premiere or the movie screening and enjoy that moment.
That's kind of cool. So have you done especially with some of the bigger projects, have you got to do some of the red carpet events?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I also go to red carpet events for films, films that aren't mine. I red carpet events here in LA, and even at the festival, I've done a couple. I've had a couple of films at the Nova Film Festival, the Northern Virginia Film Festival.
Yeah.
so that's always fun. I had a couple of films there to promote. So, you do the red carpet interviews and so on. And it's fun. You do the parties and, you have a good time, but you're still out there working and promoting your film at the same time.
Yeah. That's really neat. And I know I'm out in LA a lot, and there is always something going on. I mean, there's a premiere going on. I mean, maybe not right now where everything's shut down, but normally there's something going on almost every day. Somebody's having a premiere.
Well, I went to Stella Adler, which is the Academy of Acting there is right on Hollywood and Highland Boulevard. And the street, every other day, Hollywood Boulevard is shut down because they're doing another movie premiere. And like, oh, it's Monday, must be another movie premiere.
Must be another movie. I usually stay at the Roosevelt, right there across from the Chinese Theater, and it's always shut down. That street is always shut down.
Well, the school is right there behind the Dolby Theater, and so you try and park in that building to go to school, and you're like, oh, the street's closed, and actually my first day in LA, I moved to LA on Oscar Sunday, and and I stayed at the Roosevelt that first night in LA, and I couldn't even get food. I couldn't find a cup of coffee because the streets are closed. You have to walk 3 blocks to get down to a crossing point to get to the other side of the street.
Yes.
It's
the Roosevelt they have I'm sure but they have a little burger joint in the Roosevelt, and they have a caramel milkshake that has spiced rum in it. The best. The best. That's my recommendation. If you need that.
There you go. Everyone who wants to get a caramel rum milkshake.
That's right. That's when I go. That's all. That's my big splurge for the week.
Oh yeah, that sounds amazing.
But only once. You can only do one.
I'm sure. I might have to go now and get one if they're open.
That's right. You got to go. Go. So let's talk a little bit about the acting side. So, you mentioned you're going to you're taking some classes, or you're going to school. What are you working on as far as your acting? What are you trying to get better at?
So as I said, I moved to LA to go to drama school, and that was nearly 10 years ago.
Wow.
At the Stella Adler Academy. And I sit on the board there now, which is great because I'm still involved. And
it's really cool. And I understand. I'm jumping around, so well, just however you want to answer. But I understand that you even set up a scholarship fund to help other actors or go to school there.
So I have a scholarship at the school there for if anyone from New Zealand wants to go, it's open to anyone, but especially New Zealanders who want to move to LA and go to the acting school.
So great.
It's expensive, especially as a foreign student. You're not allowed to work, so tuition is something that that takes a large of your savings, and so anything that we can do to help those people, obviously you have to pay for your rent and your house, your food and everything.
Well, that's not cheap.
That's not cheap either. So but anyone from New Zealand who's thinking about going to Stella Adler and they want to make the move to LA, then they're totally welcome to come and talk, and we can see what we can do. So I'm on the board there at Stella Adler as well, which is great. And I talked to John Jack, who's the head of the school. He's great, and we're always having ideas and like bouncing off each other. And school is such a family. Like you go there and you feel like you've made friends. Your family are there. They're all the staff, the faculty. Everyone is very supportive, and it's just a really great place to learn your craft as well. The faculty there mostly trained under Stella Adler herself, so they're all. And they're all working actors. They're on TV right now doing things. And it's a really great place, and I'm really super proud and excited to be involved.
You definitely should be. And I love the fact that it's you look at it as a family, because I think, acting can be a very cruel, difficult profession. And a lot of times, you can feel very alone, I think, as far as the acting. And it's great that you have that resource to kind of support you and keep you positive.
Yeah, and
hustling.
And the classroom, like they say to you sort of day one, like this is where it's okay to fail. As an actor, you try something, it doesn't work. You try something, it doesn't work. 4 or 5 times, it doesn't work. Time number 6, you get it. But failing in the classroom it's a safe place. Everyone understands. Your safety and so on is kind of the most important thing. So feeling safe enough that you can try something and not feel like a failure, not feel like, oh, this is embarrassing, I failed at this, or I didn't get it right, or something like that. Everyone's supportive of that because you're in a classroom setting. Everyone's an actor. The teachers are supportive. They're actors as well. Right. So it's really a great place to learn your craft. And, it's very exciting because as you progress through the school, you start off with your technique classes, but as you progress, you get into scene study classes and so on, and a lot more challenging things, and you really grow as an actor and as a human being as well, just from taking those classes and learning your acting technique.
Yeah, that's terrific. So, what type of actor do you prefer to be? Or can you do any role, or are you better at comedy, drama? What's your genre?
Well, when I first got my student visa and I had to go to the embassy in New Zealand to get my thing in my passport, and they were like, "Oh, great, you're going to be an actor. What kind do you want to be?" And I said, "A working one." Yeah. And they were like, "Great, you're just Sam." So I love any kind of acting, whether it's comedy or drama. I like I'm told that I'm good at the quirky sitcom comedy type of acting. But I also really love getting into a really dramatic role, something that's really emotional, something that touches the soul, like something very vulnerable, something that, characters that have had turmoil or experienced something that I wouldn't have necessarily experienced, and just kind of delving into that psyche and those experiences is just as exciting as falling over on the stage and making people laugh.
Have you gotten the chance to direct yet, or is that something that you would like to do?
I think maybe eventually did a little directing scene in college in my theater degree, but I think once I've kind of built up some acting, got more into that, I think maybe I'll do a short one day, maybe in the next 5 years or so. But right now I really want to get into acting and carry on with the producing as well.
But we'll you got a lot on your plate right now.
Yeah. But 5-10 years I might be doing directing as well, and producing, directing, and acting in my projects.
Yeah, that's you never know.
Yeah.
So what are you working on currently? Is there any? I know sometimes when you have stuff coming out, you can't really talk about it, but what are you working on that we might be able to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I'm working on a few things right now, and this whole quarantine thing's been kind of a blessing because it means that I've been able to sit at home and work on stuff.
Sure.
Not be distracted by, oh, there's a movie on, or or let's do something else. So one project I'm working on, my roommate and one of my best friends, his name's Michael Benzea. He's a very talented actor, writer, singer, dancer, everything.
Wow.
He's writing projects. We're creating projects together, and he's written a TV series. It's called Neon Lights. It's on my IMDb if you want to look that up.
Yeah.
Set in 1980s New York, and it's just a very
nice,
very gritty, emotional drama. A lot of pop culture, political references, touches on things like the AIDS epidemic and minorities and that kind of stuff. So it's a very beautiful series that he's written. And
that's my time period. I grew up in the 80s, so
me too.
I have to check that out.
Yeah, so very excited about that. So we're trying to push forward with that project. And then we're working on a couple of documentaries together as well. He used to work in the medical field, and so we're looking on a couple of documentaries based around medical issues and things like that. And then there's a couple of other projects that I'm working on that have kind of in the script development stage. So there's a sitcom centered around 4 women who come together to run a bar.
Yeah.
They're from very different walks of life, but they have to come together to make this bar work. And it's, female ensemble, female-led comedy, which I'm very excited about as well. And I'll be producing and hopefully acting in that one as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, what's going on, which is great. Very busy.
Yeah, you're taking the dual role. Are you hard on yourself as a producer, or are you hard on you as the actor?
Yeah, both. But yeah, it's funny because if I'm acting and producing, if I'm on set and I'm acting and something's going on, I'm like, oh wait, hold on, I have to go and fix this, or I have to go and do that. And I have to remember that I'm in the moment as an actor, and then I can go to my other job and do the producing stuff. But yeah, I'm always like, oh, what am I doing right now? It's fun.
Yeah, you're really busy. That's a lot of stuff to kind of have, juggling all at one time.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. I did read through some of your stuff, and I wanted to ask you about one called "We Need to Talk About AI," which is a documentary.
Yep.
Yeah, explain that one to me. What is that one about?
It's literally, as the title says, it's a documentary about AI, and it's on Amazon Prime Video right now. So
yeah,
you can check that out.
I'm going to. It's on my list.
Yeah. It's as I said, it's like, as the title says, it's about how AI has come into our lives.
Yeah.
And back in the 60s was 2001: A Space Odyssey, with HAL, the computer, and intelligent life. And now we're at the point where AI has kind of started to take over our lives, and it talks about at what point do we say enough's enough. So, for example, we have automated cars now, and cars have to make decisions of when to stop and when to move and so on their own.
Yeah.
And what happens when AI becomes as intelligent or more intelligent than humans? How do we control that? Who controls what goes on with AI? So all these questions, all these debates, everything kind of gets touched on in this documentary.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's I thought that one would hit an area that I'm kind of interested in. So
there's a lot of questions, and it's a very a lot of interviews with people that you will recognize, and
yeah, really, really cool. Oh, and I wanted to go back. I know we talked a little bit about the scholarship that you had started here in LA, but you've got a trust that you started back in New Zealand. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Emerging Artists Trust.
Yeah, talk about that a minute.
Yeah, I started that 2007. Basically, my friends were coming to me, and because I had my production company, and I was, I had friends from college who had done the theater program and film program and so on. They were coming to me, how do I do this? How, can you help me out here and so on? And I got involved with their projects. I produced a few things for them, and then I realized there were a lot of other people who needed help as well that weren't my friends, that I didn't know about, who were starting out. They would have gone to film school or just moved to the city to start trying to make it as a filmmaker. So I thought, there has to be a way that other people can benefit from my, what I do, and, what I have come to learn from working with my friends and so on.
Right.
So I started this trust, and we started with grants. So we gave up to $1,000 for a short film project or a theater project or something like that.
Great.
So to kind of get people started, because the trouble is, as when you're starting out as a filmmaker, you can't really get any work if you don't have work behind you. So it's like, how do you get that work to start with? So that also turned into a mentoring program, which we kind of match make. Say you want to be an editor, you come to us, we find an editor, and we pair you together, and they start a mentorship.
That's so cool. I love the fact that you've got all this stuff going on, and you're trying to establish your own company, you're trying to establish a career, and you're still taking time out to help everybody else that's out there. That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. I think, you know, I've been enough to do what I do for a while, and, you know, I've learned a lot and I've done a lot. So I think, you know, as not just as a maker, but, you know, as a human being, like, you know, I feel to pass on, you know, whatever I can. You know, I think, you know, I help someone else who's starting out. When they get to my point of career, you know, they can help someone starting out as well. And,
Right.
you know, I think that's really important.
Yeah. Pay it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's commendable. That's terrific. Well, Charlotte, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time for us. You know, you've got so many exciting projects. I'm really, I guess, excited to kind of follow your career here in the States. And I've got a few things already that I'm going to go and check out.
Great.
So that's really cool. But, you know, before you go, you know, let our viewers or listeners know that if they want to know more about what you're working on and you know what you're involved in, where can they go to find it?
Yeah. So I have my IMDb page is, you know, mostly kept up to date pretty regularly. So, you know, whenever I have something new or an update for a project, that goes up there. I have a Twitter, and it's at official CHARLAR Charlotte Lar. Charlotte Larson was too long to fit, so thank you. I had to like, and yeah, I have a Facebook page as well, and you can check me out there.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah, that's so great, and you've got so many really cool projects that's working, and you're so busy. So yeah, thank you so much for taking.
Anytime. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hold on one second. I'm going to hit pause.
All right.
All right. So that was Charlotte Larson. What a talented lady. It was just terrific to talk to her, and she's got so many, you know, really exciting projects and has been involved in so much. I'm always impressed with someone that can handle all different sides of the entertainment business. You know, obviously she knows the behind the scenes part and the producing part, but is really making a name for herself on the acting side as well. Just a very talented woman. So that was just wonderful to talk with her. And I love the fact that she's also taking the time to help other people that are starting out. So it's, you know, really commendable that she does that. Thank you as always for giving us a chance to come into your home and to listen to us. You know, we really appreciate that. You know, if you'd like to know a little bit more about us, you can find us on Facebook under Meisterkhan. You know, if you feel like you'd like to donate or to help us with the show a little bit, you know, we always appreciate the help. We're in the process of building our studio, so that would be greatly appreciated. You know, you can find that under patreon.com/Meisterkhan. Really had fun today. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye, everybody.